On this lesson, we're going to work on the back part of our postcard. So the first thing I want to do is add a background. So I'm going to go to my rectangle and create a rectangle that it has the dimensions of my bleed. So I'm going to make sure here on the top that I have the right dimensions. Then I'm going to swap the fill and stroke to a light gray color. And I want to send it to back, and you can see that if I give it a try, it's not going to work because my photos are on a layer below. So I'm going to create a new layer to avoid this. And the reason why I do that is because sometimes you want to have your photos to have a different type of finish when they are printing. So maybe you want them to have glossy or something like that. So it's very important you name your layers and you have everything organized. So I'm going to call this one background color. And then while I select my gray rectangle, I'm gonna go here in my layers to this little square, red square, and just drop it, click and drag to background color. And now you can see how the background is there. I'm gonna lock it so I don't accidentally move anything, and then I'm gonna keep working. I'm gonna double click on this element that I just created because I made a group, and just copy by pressing Ctrl C that logo, go outside, and now make sure that I'm the back, just paste it by pressing Ctrl B. Let's scale this one a little bit up, and I'm going to create a rectangle just so I have my measurements. And I like to do this just by creating a rectangle that has the dimensions of this. And the reason why I do that is because I want to have a measurement so I can align my elements. So I'm going to align this right there and change the color. Let's go with this dark gray, and that's okay. Now I want this logo to have an element that is different, so I'm going to change this element by double click and going inside the group, selecting this element, and just change the color to something like maybe an orange color. Yeah, I think that will work fine. And I'm going to go to my type tool again, but first I'm going to move this a little bit. Just go to my type tool or press T on my keyboard. Now let's type salmon bowl, and let's change the color using our right eyedropper or pressing I on our keyboard to have that same orange color. Now if I want to change the color a little bit, I could be playing around with that, but I could also just click and drag this on my swatches, then double click on that one, and when I give it a double click, I'm going to get a window like this, and here I'm going to make sure that I check this global color, hit OK, and you can see how that now this color has a little triangle. I'm going to apply it to that element that I had on the logo and to my letters or to my salmon bowl, and then if I make adjustments, and I'm going to have a preview so you can see, it's going to change both elements because the color is global. So if you're trying to experiment with colors, this could be a really good tip. Now I'm gonna scale this up a little bit, just like that, then align it with my rectangle on the top. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit, again remember Ctrl plus, make this one a little bit smaller, make a copy by dragging and pressing Alt and Shift. And let's change the text here for 850. Let's use our eyedropper or I on our keyboard and sample that dark gray color. Make this one a little bit smaller, and maybe you can change this one to something like regular or medium, so you have a little difference between both text lines. Now I'm going to make a copy of this, so I'm going to select, and then I'm going to press Alt and Shift while I drag, and I'm going to change the text here to something like salmon pizza, and again change the price, so 11.50. Now I'm going to group both elements, so let's just move this a little bit up first, and then I'm going to group it again by going Object Group, or you can press Ctrl G, again Ctrl G. Now I'm going to move them around and make sure that they have enough space. And what I want to do is I'm going to double click on my logo and use this little top part as a divider. So I'm going to just copy it by going to Edit, Copy, or Ctrl C, go outside my group and just Ctrl B to paste it. Now I'm going to sample this gray and make it a little darker. I'm going to place it there, make it a little bit small, and make sure that I am always aligning to that rectangle that I created on the top. So now you can see how I use that little piece of the logo as a divider for both the text blocks that I have there. I'm going to scale the restaurant a little bit and move around my elements. Just so that they have enough space between each other. And maybe scale them down a little bit. Now I'm going to go to my type tool, and this time I'm going to click and drag to make a rectangular shape. Here you can see how in this version of Illustrator I get a sample text, because let's say that you don't have the final text yet, but you want to see where your text could be, so you can use this text and change maybe to something like regular and make it a little bit smaller. And if you want to fill that thing again, all you have to do is maybe let's delete this one and create a new one. So now you can see how it's been filled with text, and you can get as less or as much as you want and play a little bit with the size. And remember to always align your elements with the rectangle that we created as a guide. I think a text like this is working well, so maybe just 2 lines I think would work better, so something like that. And I'm gonna go to my title again by pressing T, and let's type salmon bowl. Let's change the color to something like white and place it right there on one of the corners, just so we can show which one is the salmon bowl. So with this, we have pretty much finished our design, or have it almost ready. Just a little bit of finishing touches. And there is our design. So in the next lesson, I'm going to show you how I'm going to prepare this file for printing.